nowadays people gotta slow down and to really enjoy the forest and what's in there. Then when you go slow, you'll see things and you'll find things that normal people would miss. And it's just amazing what's going on with these trees, because, you know, the forest, it's, I know quite a bit, but there's so much to learn. I think that there's still secrets here in the woods that I don't know about. All this Finnish heritage, it came from the North Country there. And the reason those people came was because of they were having bad times over there. And they came to America for a better life. And my grandmas came, and I know exactly where they left from. My cousin said that they were singing when they left. Well, I was born and reared on a small subsistence farm. That's all most of what in this Tapiola area was Finnish farmers. Settlement here, and we were all pretty much in the same boat. But my wood carving and such, it's always been with me. I didn't realize I was such a creative person until I had time to think about things, and then the creative started working in me, and I have so many ideas that. I don't know if I'll ever have time enough to do them all, but I'm going to try anyway. This is going to be a little bird, this block of wood right here. I'm going to cut a piece out of it here, and I'll carve a bird from it. Well, you can take a piece of dry wood and put it soaking for weeks, and you can use it then. But fresh wood is the best. Now this part that I'm doing right here is going to hold the feathers together. We call it the notch. And then you have to cut another one on the other side. I really enjoy carving. It's a wonderful pastime. And it's also you can be creative then. When you get some ideas, it's a lot better than sitting in a lazy boy. Now I have to put a hinge in this bird. There'll be about 1/8 of an inch left right in here, and these feathers are going to fan out. There's a story I heard about these birds that come from medieval times in Finland. Yeah, but it's a short story, so I'll keep you in suspense for a while, and then when I got the bird carved, I'll tell it you. Carve those feathers out now. Yeah, I think I have enough. Okay, there's the body of the little bird. Now I'll work on the wings. And that's what these notches are for. See, this one has a, and the pressure holds it there then. Onnenlintu, happy bird. That looks very nice. Now there's a story that I've heard about this little bird. The one I heard comes from far northern Finland. And this reindeer herder had a son who was feeling poorly, and he was in his bed already, and he had tried their medicine such as they had, but to no avail. And so father one evening was sitting with a piece of block of wood like I had by the fireplace there, and he said, I'll carve a little bird for my son. And so he did, and he hung it up by the fireplace, and when the thermal heat caused it to fly and move. And when the young son saw that, it cheered him up to that extent that he was well. And when the other villagers heard that, they wanted a little bird too. Onnenlintu, happy bird. I look at something and if I see a nice form coming off the knife, I say, wow, I can use that in my crafts. And that's where I got these off of a piece of cedar, and they just curled off of there nicely, and then I put them together like this. And then this right here, I thought it could be a Christmas tree topper. There's another a star or a sun symbol, a burst of light. And I'm going to get back to this one because I think this one has potential. Tämä on suomalainen puukko. Minä ostan Suomessa. This is a Finnish puukko. I bought it in Finland last summer. And this knife I use to carve my little birds with. It works very well for that, and it fits my hand nice. This handle is curly birch. That's about the only decorative hardwood that they have in Finland. And this right there is leather, and then this is reindeer bone. Yep. Tämä puukki teki Jussi Airikainen made this. And it's a knife that I use for brook trout fishing. And it's a little puukko, a little knife, and he made that blade from a saw blade. And my old fishing partner, Jussi, he gave that to me. He made the knife and the sheath, wooden sheath. Yeah, I can't have too many knives.
When I start being involved with the Hunka homestead and seeing how the Finlanders came over, worked in the mines, worked in the bush, hard-working people and stuff like this, I guess it makes me, I guess, proud to be a Finlander, you know. Welcome to the Hunka Homestead Museum. It was established in 1896. It's called the Aita or granary. They had to store their oats and their barley and their corn, and so they stored it up above to keep it out of the critters, keep it dry, kept it in barrels, and so they utilized the bottom one. They had the blacksmith shop over here, and right here the wood shop. They made homemade skis. They sold them, bought them, traded them. They had trouble with the skis. They're good in the fields, but bad in the bush. They started to make snowshoes. They trapped the animals for the hide, for the webbing. Here's another innovation that they had. You got a furrow, you got full of seeds. You pull this along, and the wheel will pank down the seeds, and the chain will cover them up with dirt. One less step that you have to do. Made your own wheelbarrow. Had chains and stuff, they just use it for platform, I guess, you know. Pretty neat. They also thrashed their grain. They got a thrasher in here and stuff that separate the husk from the grains and stuff. Now, as we go along, you'll notice the house is the Finnish double dovetail. It's sloped this way, but also this way. It's a locking device that there's no way that this log is going to move. But you can notice how straight that is still. The Finlanders that came here had to have sisu, determination, endurance, to even survive here, you know. And we take a lot of things for granted, but these people really worked hard to survive here, I tell you, you know. And not only survive, but prospered too. I had a friend that was in combat in Bosnia, and one of the Finnish soldiers traded her with something for this, and she liked me so much she knew about my wood carving, and she says, "No, you got a real Finnish knife that you could carve Finnish stuff." My grandfather had one, you know. I used to kind of like envy him for having that, but he used to just sit underneath the tree, and I think he just made sticks. You know, he had a stick, and he just, you know, I don't think he carved anything. He did eat apples with that too, you know, cut those apples with it. The curve right there is perfect for the hand. No slip there, so. Sharp too, boy. My grandfather on my dad's side was just a little short guy. He would just say hello in English. That's about all the English he knew. The rest was all Finn, you know. My grandmother was, in that side, was Tuini. And she was the typical, probably 4 foot high, 4 foot wide. Always making donuts and bread and stuff like that. And they made their living farming. And we discovered that our grandparents all came from Finland, so we're 100% Finnish people type thing. My dad was a auto mechanic, you know, made a living in a junkyard. Ma was the typical sweet home maker stuff, and I taught tech welding for a while, and I didn't like that, working with the steel too much, too many sparks and too hot and stuff, you know. Working with wood is, as my friend says, sawdust is not dirty, you know. Gotta keep them straight, otherwise they fall down. Yeah, it's an art. We call it a Donnie Mackie pile. They'd be all mosaic, just one right after the other, close, close, real close, real close. Get them right close. Get that extra cord in there, half cord in there. Well, one time I was picking morel mushrooms, and I saw this bear, and I was afraid of it, and I start running down the road. And I was running and running, and I looked to my side, and that bear was running right alongside of me. We were both running in the same direction. I said, what the heck, you know? You can't be running away from the bear when it's running alongside you. It's like a race, you know? But they've never bothered me, so. My dad made a bear out of ceramics. And so I was looking at it, and I said, well, I could carve that. So I did. This is the first carving I did. That's the only carving I really value much. It's not that great, but my first one, my first baby. This one's never for sale. This is going to be around, put that in my coffin, yeah. After that, I thought, well, if I could do this, I'll try another one or two. So here I am, 20 years later, still carving. You got me thinking about this bear thing, though. I didn't realize that I had so many bears in my life. This is a rag rug made by my friend Marceline. It's supposed to symbolize Hakenbaba, or the time when the bear rolls over in his cave in the second half of the winter. I didn't realize that I had so many bears in my life. Where did that come from, you know? Where did that come from, you know? I went to a Hakela family reunion, and it was surprising. All the Hakela men were showing me pictures of their woodworking. You know, either they were carving, or they're making things for the house, or they were making tree houses or something like this. And we all got together and we said, well, that's real odd that none of us associated with each other through the years. I haven't seen many of the cousins for, 40, 50 years, and they're all into that woodworking thing. So that was kind of neat. I said, well, I guess it must be in the genes, touching that wood and stuff, There's not a lot of detail. If you look at the face, yes, there's the eyes, but no eyelashes, no really wrinkly on the face. I think it's just basic forms and using just a knife, a buko, You got the tip of the knife to help you. You got the back of the knife to help you. Be friends with the knife, and won't cut you if it's close. And again, you peel it this way a little bit, and you see how the grain is going that way, so you pull it like so, pull it like so, pull it like so. Wood is like straws going up a tree, a bunch of straws, and so, as they say, you go with the grain, and so, yeah. I always wear my Kevlar glove My knives are so sharp, if I cut myself today, I won't bleed till tomorrow, you know. Start taking off one chip at a time. Turn it around. Get that other chip. One chip at a time. I could carve this exactly like this one. But what good would that be? You could just go to the store and buy one that looks like this then, you know. So I like to give them a little character, you know, like maybe arthritic knuckles, maybe a broken thumb, you know, maybe something different. Big long fingernails instead of, you know, a little character to the carvings versus the, you know, the regular normalish, I guess, you know. So it's a work of love, you know. I talk to other carvers, and you're lucky if you get maybe 10 cents an hour for your work, you know. Maybe if you're lucky, you know. One of my bread and butter selling things, I sell walking sticks and sauna spirits, non-denominational at all. The sauna spirit is indigenous to the Otter Lake area, which is right here. Otter Lake is just a stone throw, say. It will protect you from evil and bad vibes. A little water splashed on him will re-energize the power, hang in the sauna or in any living space that you want protected. Winter gets pretty long sometimes. Getting older, seems like that snow is getting heavier. I'm thankful I have the wood shop. Otherwise I'd probably go cabin crazy. I don't know. When I'm carving, I'm here all day, and people know that I'm here all day, and they know that there's a cup of coffee up there, and the wood stove is hot, and in the winter, if it's rainy out, they know I'm here. So it's people come over, visit and stuff, and kind of like the community center sometimes here. So, well, we got the Manninens and other Hakelas. We got the Heralas. We got the Hadias. We got the other Hadia, the Hakenen. We got the Kaupala, the Pavalas, the Saris. We got the Waris. We got the Karenins. I guess a lot of Finns in there, eh? I just finished this one. It's a slippery elm root. Pretty neat, eh? This is just nature. Nature and its beauty. All you do is peel off the ugliness and everything's beauty in the inside there. Look at that, eh? Here's another natural thing. Well, look at that, eh? Pretty neat. It's all in the woods too, you know. It's really neat. Here's another nature. This is diamond willow, unique by Bayfield. I think Alaska is the only places that they have this wood. Beautiful, beautiful wood, beautiful wood. Oh, here's another thing I made. Nice piano. Oh. when you look at a piece of wood, it's really nice to see beauty inside of there, you know. And I kind of like it. And you make this. Where did that come from, you know? Inside your brain. Why did I make that? You know, you question. I think it's good to keep that brain working, thinking, always thinking. Gotta always figure, you know.
Karjalan piirakka. It's a rye crust, and it's filled with like a rice that's cooked with milk and butter, and then you put this is egg butter. It's hard-boiled egg and butter, and you put that on top of them. Okay. Enjoy. I hope you like it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that looks good.
My father was born in Häme, Finland, in Lempäälä, Finland. And my mother was born in Sundsvall, Sweden, from a Finnish mother and Swedish father. They stayed in Karelia then, until war started, 1939. My dad was called to army already in October. We got an order to evacuate. I was only 3 years old at the time. Whatever we could carry, we took with us, and we left. My father fought the Winter War. Then the door opened to America because most of his siblings were already in the United States, but father came by himself first. He was here for 13 months and he liked it in the United States, so he sent us a letter telling my mother to sell everything and follow him. And but my mother said no. She said she had started from the beginning too many times in her life. She didn't want to start from the beginning again. So Dad came back to Finland. But evidently he was persuaded her into coming, and February of 1955, the whole family came here. So we ended up in Detroit, where my dad they were holding his job, which he had in Detroit. I had a family friend of mine who was American Finnish, and he worked in a tool and die shop. And he asked me one time, he said, would you like to go into apprenticeship? And I said, yeah, I'll do that, because that would mean work all year round. So I wasn't there too long, and the owner of the company asked me, he said, do you know any other Finnish boys who would like a job? So I got a couple more other Finnish, my brother, I got him a job over there, and another Finnish immigrant boy. That's why it's called chip carving, because you're supposed to, when you make then the piece is coming off there. That's a chip that comes off. And then you clean up and then you always try to cut next to the last cut. Otherwise, if you try to go someplace else, it'll split. Rukin lapa. They are a distaff of a spinning wheel, where the carded wool goes around it. It's called lovileikkaus in Finnish, which is chip carving. But this has been going on for a couple hundred years, I think. (1977, 1978), a friend of mine who was from Finland, he got a letter and things about wood carving, this Rukinlapa wood carving. And he asked me, he said, would you like to try that? I said, yeah, I'm interested in trying that. And we started carving together. At that time, this is the kind of knives that you could buy from the store as a chip carving knife. And I didn't like the way, I still don't like the way it fits my hand. And me being a tool and die grinder, I got some pieces of scrap steel at work and I made my own. They're all made out of high-speed steel and they are very sharp. And they fit my hand because I made the handles so that they fit my hand and nobody else did. And that's how I started. And I kept it up. My children wanted me to make something for them to remember me by. So I made one of these Rukinlapas for each one of my kids. These kids, they have kids. Yeah. So I made one for each one of my grandkids. And now when I have great grandkids, and they are starting to want, I said, now it's somebody else's turn to take over. Because my hands are getting numb. I have a hard time with the knives and stuff. So now it's time for somebody else to start taking over. Himmeli. It's a Christmas ornament. These are made out of straw, and the string is strung into the inside that. Just about every little child in Finland used to make them. Now it's popular again all of a sudden. Yeah, people are starting to talk about himmelis and they're making them. Here's one section of one of those himmelis. When we got this knife and scabbard, it was 1940s, and they said that it was over 100 years old then. So that was an old time. Made out of reindeer horn, the handles. These are both from Lapland, these knives. And I got a couple others. This one my dad wore for years, always with him, this knife. These are little boys' knives. All total, up to today, it has been between 40 and 50 Rukinlapas that I have made. This one way up here, this one here. That's the only one that I time myself, how much time I spent The carving time alone was 108 hours carving time on that one. Yeah. Yeah. I sit here and most of the time I have some Finnish music playing and listen to my old favorites. Some of the Finnish tapes that I sit here and listen to when I'm carving. I spend a lot of times, I listen to these many times over.
There's one other craft that I should show you. It's called tuoman risti. Of all my crafts, this is the hardest one to do. There's only a handful in Finland that carve them. And I was over there in Finland and tried to get to talk to some of those carvers, but this one especially, he didn't want to let go of his secrets. So, I don't know. So I've been working on it on my own for well over 10 years now. My upbringing, Sunday school, apostolic church here in Tapiola, and I guess the most important thing for me is that when I die, that God will take me home to heaven, and so that's part of my identity and my culture and my heritage, and I try to live a best life that I can. I've been teaching apprentices all the crafts that I know and things about the woods, and the crafts that I teach, they come from a bygone era when people had more time, it seemed like. Everything now is so busy, because one of these days I'll pass away and my knowledge will go with me. So I'd like to leave some knowledge here, hopefully that when they're older that they remember, and then that they would become interested in it, and then they would expand on what I was trying to teach them. Okay. She's making a keikumies. Keikumies means rocking man. It's a balancing toy.
So you could put it on the edge and it just stand up straight.
Yeah. Try that one. That might be okay, maybe.
Let's see now. That's better, yeah. And so then a year ago, he asked me to be one of his apprentices. And of course I said yes, because I've always wanted to learn this craft, and I know it's not very common anymore. And so I'd like to keep it going. And it was just, I loved it. I loved it so much because, you know, it got me closer to my grandpa, got me closer to my Finnish ancestors, my Finnish heritage, and, you know, it was just awesome. You know, I love it. Yeah, no, this is something he made up. It protects me from cutting myself because I do that a lot, and most people don't need it, but I like it. I know these are things that my grandpa like those toys he did as a kid. So I just really think it's like a connection. Like I'm doing it as a kid, he did it as a kid, and then his parents probably did it as a kid. And so I just think that's really cool.
Go from the other way then too, that chip will come out. And then these right here will be for the paddles. Go back and forth so it don't split. Round the head off about right in here.
Okay.
How's that bird coming along, Arnie?
Well, it's coming.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm making a fan bird. At the end, hopefully, if you're lucky, it'll turn out like this. This is all one piece. You can see where you kind of get the profile of the feather from. And then at some point when you're ready, and you get this hinge down right, you split it out real thin and weave it back and forth. The community I grew up in was mostly Finnish. Both my parents are of Finnish descent. I was named for my Finnish grandfather. We still have a Laskiainen festival up there. I've been to that every year of my life. So yeah, I was very aware of my Finnish heritage growing up in an environment like that.
Let me see that bird, Arnie. Make them a little bit bigger. And then you have more room to wiggle.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the hardest part of the bird, the splitting. It's that feather didn't turn out too well. Messed up quite a few. There, that one's all right.
My Finnish roots are on my mother's side of the family. My great-grandparents came over from Finland around 1906 or so. I settled in Toivola, actually, and my mother's maiden name was Nasko. And then just over the years, I've become more and more interested in pursuing my ethnic heritage on both sides of my family. I think my identity it just keeps evolving over the years as I learn about my French heritage, French-Canadian heritage, and my Finnish heritage. Music triggered my interest. Actually, I was getting to know Oren Tikkanen that really got me started on the path of learning about my cultural heritage through music, and then it's begun to expand over time into the woodworking and crafts and other things like that.
Let's have Matt take a chorus.
But over the years, we just kind of have developed this great relationship. He's taught me a lot about music, taught me a lot about Finnish culture, taught me a lot about living. How music led to wood would certainly be this instrument right here. So this is called a yohiko, I hope I pronounced that fairly well, which means bundle of horsehair. A bundle of horsehair. As you can see, the strings are traditionally made with horsehair. These are horsehair strings that are on here. And the bow itself also was made out of horsehair. Now, the reason I did this was because we didn't have access to these. I made this about 14 years ago, I believe, 14 or so. And the reason I made it was because I couldn't buy one. So I thought, well, I can make one. Let's see if this probably will work. Sorry, I don't have any rosin. Well, you get the basic idea. There are 2 drone strings on this instrument, actually. And it's out of tune right now, too. But it's very interesting. It's something I think I didn't really learn to play it very well. But I think it was the curiosity of actually doing the woodwork that really was the bridge. It's called a slip bark whistle.
You know this, I went that way, now I'm going to go this way.
Here's the finished one right here. And go. It only makes one
chip coming out. That's why it's called
frequency,
chip
but
carving.
good for calling people to dinner, I suppose. Or maybe scaring off a creature, if necessary. Here's one I did earlier. You can see it just slips right off. So I'm working on that right now. I just trimmed out the mouth part here, the cut there, and now I need to crush the inner bark here so that I can slip this off. It can take some time. You have to be patient with it. So we'll start doing that.
And this part is the part that's going to go through the paddles. So this you can just make, you know, sort of round. And this part goes on the peruna, on the potato. So
This part goes on the
no,
potato?
this end. And then these will be the paddles here. Do you know? Is it equal?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nice, Marge.
Ta-da! There we go.
All right, Monty.
Just like that.
Yep, perfect.
That's perfect. So now I have to trim out a cavity in here so that the wind can do its thing. And yeah, that's got a pretty decent whistle now.
Yeah, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's a saleable bird. It is. Yes, it is.
Get a couple bucks for that.
Huh?
Get a couple bucks for that.
No, I would sell that for at least 5.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're going to go a little walk in the woods. And my father taught me how to do this. And he taught me the certain way to walk. And the reason for that was, it was a practical reason, and that was to hunt deer. And we needed the meat, so he would send me out every so often and see if I could get some fresh meat. When you're walking in the woods and you're hunting game, partridge or deer, you got to go slow. You can't be a hatahozo, can't be a hurry-up pants. You got to go slow. Now I don't hunt deer so much, but I do use the technique that I learned to observe things and find things and peep some things that people probably would miss. what I'm doing is I'm listening and I'm looking and I'm really observing things near and far. There's so much to learn, that there's so many secrets, I think, that